I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. A drizzly Monday, October 13th, Indigenous Peoples Day. What's the word I'm looking for, Andrew? Acknowledged,
Columbus?
celebrated?
Oh.
Observed.
Yeah, what were other possibilities for the renaming of this day?
I don't know, but wait, didn't Trump just take it back to Columbus Day?
He did?
Shout out,
The
shout out to
C-bomb?
the Italians.
Right, it wasn't like an Italian day for a second. Weren't they pushing that? I mean, that was as short-lived as Freedom Fries. But is Trump going to campaign on, we can say the C word again?
Our love of Columbus was and is some real bullshit. And I'm not just saying this as a purveyor of wokeness, Andrew. Like, Christopher Columbus didn't set foot on like the soil of America. This guy's, why are we glazing him?
I know. Not to take the side of MAGA, which I love to do. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, ooh, I want to stand for some MAGA points. But growing up...
Making America great keeps your teeth white in the morning.
Celebrating Christopher Columbus's day growing up was messed up to think about now in 2025. But in school, we were just like, oh, this is how the explorers did their thing. And it probably is wrong now. It's probably told poorly. But it was a day where their teachers talked about like ships and new worlds. And it was like, to a kid, it was harmless. We didn't know about like the suffering of indigenous people or the miscategorization of what an explorer does or did in terms of success or failure. Accidentally, like, is discovering something, inventing something, all these great questions. But as kids, we're just like, how big was the ship? What did they have on the ship? How did they eat food? You know, it was like they weren't teaching the proper way to create a bucatine and lemon, garlic, and Parmesan sauce.
We will go to our grave remembering the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Oh my gosh!
Like that is,
yeah.
that is stamped in your brain for life. The names of the three ships. I don't even know what ship he was on. Was he on the Nina? Was he on the Santa Maria? I couldn't even say. I don't know the fate of these ships. We just know those were the ships.
Oops was the Batman, Robin, and Alfred. Was Nina the Batman? Was the Santa Maria the Alfred?
Pinta has huge Alfred vibes.
Like, who is the Santa Maria of the Knicks? I don't want to get into basketball yet, but keep that in mind.
The big three.
That's right.
Paul George, the Pinta of the Philadelphia 76ers.
It kind of like set a stage for the tradition of like the way they constructed stories in video games like Super Nintendo or just regular Nintendo. It's like, well, this is Nintendo hockey, so you have the normal size guy and he's good at everything. You have the big fat guy who's very powerful but very slow. And you have the skinny guy who's very fast but not powerful at all. I'm like, this is a damn Nina Pinta Santa Maria narrative.
The Pinta was fat, cute, and very strong.
Yeah. Oh, the Nina's bringing back the rear. Can we get the Santa Maria to zoom up ahead, shoot some people, and then we'll bring the heavy guns.
So what befell the Armada again? They were like too big to fail, and then like
syphilis. I don't know, rats. I don't know.
Tuberculosis felled them or something. Whatever.
Yeah, the Kristaps Porzingis finals.
We knew way too much about the naval escapades of Europe. We weren't even involved.
Well, sheesh. I went to Lisbon, and they have like a statue of some great explorer. I forget which one. But it made me...
Francisco Pizarro?
Was it Pizarro?
I don't know.
Was it Pizarro Columbus?
Is Francisco his first name, or is that Francisco de Gama? I don't know.
But I went on a tour, and the tour guide was like, "We were on the edge of the old world. You're standing at the last point of the old world." Portugal used to be a very, very significant, important country, and powerful and wealthy. Now, like, we are building back, but it had its time when it wasn't those things. And I'm like,
Until we were destroyed by Airbnb
and syphilis. I don't know. I'm not a historian, but this is how I was taught in elementary school.
So at the risk of sounding as if I believe that Columbus Day should be celebrated, you do make a good point in that there is something incredibly exciting about these stories, about people getting in ships and sailing off into the unknown and finding things. The problem here, of course, which is so often the case with how we talk about history, is the perspective.
Yeah.
Like if you tell it from another
Very
way,
big problem. Yes.
We were here just, living in our teepees and hunting for game. Oh, we had the time of our lives. And then these guys show up with these blankets. It's like, you shift the perspective, the story goes a whole different direction.
They brought us these necklaces made of flowers. They were dancing next to roasted pigs. We had a big party. We called it the Great Thanksgiving Pig Roast.
Dude, he pulled up with wampum, and my mind was blown. What the hell is wampum?
Wampum. Was that a name of like a chief? I associate it with like a very large pipe.
Smoking that wampum pack.
Yeah, it was like growing up when we did, the misinformation about the indigenous peoples of America should be taught as its own course, because there was some very creative stuff that we took as fact that after a little bit of thinking about it as like a teenager, I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense. If you see these strange people pull up and you bring them gifts, I'm not buying this.
Well, there's also stuff about the food, right? When you get down in the Southwest, and of course these would be, Native Americans. They seem to be nixtamalizing corn and making tortillas very similarly to the Mexicans who are on the other side of the border. Totally unrelated. They just both came up with the idea separately. They weren't the same people at all.
Yeah, it's great. Like the difference between studying as a child, studying the Native Americans, and at that point they called them Indians, right? Which was confusing in itself, because we were like, isn't there a country called India? It's like, well, that's different. And then you find out about Dutch East India companies and the British, and it gets very muddy until you just read Wikipedia, but we didn't have that, right? And then the Mexican culture that goes back centuries and invented so many things that we use today in the modern life. I'm like, they were very close. Did we have that border that we have on this globe?
No. They were in Mexico, and they're trying to come into the United States now. They certainly didn't control wide swaths of areas. Absolutely not.
Listen, there's the San Antonio Spurs, the Houston Rockets, the Dallas Mavericks, but we play games in Mexico City. Two very far away things. Similar, but different.
New Mexico has nothing to do with old Mexico.
Hey, why isn't American food better? On this point, why isn't traditional American food as delicious as Mexican food? We're right there. Tex-Mex is very good too. But like, how do we get stuck? Burgers are fine. I know I talk trash about burgers, but how do we get stuck with like uninteresting food as opposed to explosively interesting food?
Well, to that point, right? If a restaurant says, we have new American cuisine, you're like, oh, then it's probably good. Sure, I get what that means. It's just sort of good stuff that doesn't really have any particular ethnic bend to it, but you'll probably cheat. Like, oh yeah, we've also added some, spices of the Orient, but it's new American. Also, there's fish sauce.
Yeah, what is your go-to at a new American restaurant?
You're like, okay, I'll take the smash burger with the potatoes. It's like, no, it's just gonna be halibut or some shit.
Halibut, is that a number one fish? It's expensive as hell. But can you rank quickly? Can you give me your 1 through 3 ranks of fish?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, look, so much
to
of
eat.
world history has been built by cod. A nation
I love cod.
built by cod.
I love it. That's your number one?
I mean, I just feel like cod deserves respect.
The cod sham cod.
Sea
Yeah.
bass. God,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. Sea bass. I did not expect sea bass. Delicious.
Delicious food.
And then number 3.
What else do I like up there?
Oh
I like a nice rainbow trout.
Awesome, right? Like, fantastic. I mean, my 3 are completely different: halibut, salmon, and red snapper.
Those are all fine fish. Have you seen what like the coho salmon looks like or whatever that one is?
No,
Is that what it's called? There's the one that's totally insane. You have no idea. It's a
Does it look
crazy looking
crazy?
fish. It's red.
Okay, and aside from that,
Has a weird face.
really, because sometimes when you roll up to Whole Foods, they have that monkfish, like hole in the ice. That's a crazy looking ass fish, man. That's like super scary.
Yeah, those are cool. Have you watched any of those? I guess they'd be on TikTok or Reels, or probably on YouTube. Like you've seen, obviously, the many permutations of the Anthony Bourdain model. Okay, we're going to China, we're eating all these foods. We're going to the most remote places, but like the bar is so high at this point.
Oh, this is
just like-
storytelling. It's not just food; it's culture.
Well, it is. It's true. It's true.
Right.
It is food. It is culture. It's all that.
Yeah.
It's like, here's a German teen who's just been in Syria for 2 weeks. Like, it's gotten really high level and insane. It's, hi, I'm biking through Afghanistan.
Hey, this is
They're
an
great.
incel who eats rations from 1960.
I'm saying this content is fantastic. And you go
Is
there and
it?
you're like, I have not seen behind the Taliban veil, if you will.
What show do you speak of? What's the title of this show? I need to
I don't
watch.
know. They're just influencers. It's just a
Really?
dude in his bike, and he's like by himself, and he's biking for 2 weeks through Afghanistan, and he's there hanging out with the Taliban at their taking photos together. They're giving him waters. He's staying in hotels, and they're opening the door at 5 a.m. for a call to prayer. Great content, man. It's all out there.
I mean, this backfired on a content producer. I forget in which war-torn Ukraine, I believe. He was like, "I'm filming content," and they're like, "Wait, we're in a war," and then he disappeared. I don't know. He probably got found again. Maybe it was for content. It was an industry plant, maybe. But
Well, these are good because you actually see, again, the perspective where the Taliban guys are just sitting there like, oh, there comes this guy on the bike, because you're looking at them.
I've seen some of that. But where does food come in? Is this content
Oh.
about war or food?
Oh, it's very little war. It's just travel stuff. Most of it revolves around food.
Right,
I've definitely seen multiple ones that were in like Iraq, Syria, and it's like just Western guys. It's always guys.
Yeah.
And like we're trying street
Same
food.
type of guy. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying street food, and like this is the best pastry they have in Jalalabad.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to try the best pastry in Jalalabad personally.
It is not a meathead going to a suicide forest and seeing some person hanging from a tree. Like that
This is more wholesome for sure. This is actually really wholesome. You leave watching every episode thinking, man, the Taliban, they're kind of sick.
Is that a skill thing? Because I don't think they meant to get canceled by showing someone hanging from a tree. I think it was like, this is the forest where, oh my God, keep shooting, right? Like that's literally what happened.
And we never heard of them again.
Yeah, he didn't spend millions of dollars on fake Pokemon cards.
And he disappeared without a trace.
Is he a billionaire? He is, right?
Can't be, right? I just mean a billionaire.
He's close.
It's tough to get up there.
Are you sure? Because someone called out all the billionaire donors for Andrew Cuomo, and I was like, that's a lot of billionaires I've never heard of. How many of them are there? Like
You're right.
hundreds, right?
Maybe it's a lot easier post inflation, like stock market run.
Right. And it's
It's
not
like,
liquid.
you were just some paltry 250 millionaire, and then like stock market run, and you know, post pandemic, and all of a sudden you're a billionaire, and you're like, look at me, look at us. I love this for us.
Listen, my whole shared office space thing crashed and burned famously, but I did walk away with $1 billion. Have I ever held that billions of dollars in my hands? No, but I'm a billionaire.
God bless those 1%ers.
Yeah, 2%ers at this point. Is are these people traveling to war-torn countries to humanize the people? Talk about perspective. Are they an industry plant of some benevolent content machine?
Right? Is it like Mikey Taliban put out the word? We gotta get some good press over here. They're, you know, post the U.S. soldiers leaving. We got to do better on the PR front. Let's get some cyclists over here to, you know, have some beef stew.
Is Barry Weiss going to send a reporter to North Korea to humanize the suffering going on in that country?
I feel like her blog was undervalued at $250 million.
I think it was 150, which I thought was low. Because we hear of so many weird broadcast deals, like the Dodgers, the Knicks, you know, like I'm like, yo, you're not even all of baseball. You're just one of many teams.
Yeah, but she basically had a WordPress.
She's also very famous. I think it was a bad hire. If I was on the CBS board, I would not have done that. But I was like, 150 million, wasn't Moonves like worth billions? Like, doesn't that industry generate so much funny money that 150 is kind of a drop in the bucket?
I mean, back when Cookies Hoops sold for $700 million, like
That's right.
I felt like we probably could have pushed for a billion on paper.
Like, how much is the rights to the Super Bowl? CBS gets it all the time, right?
True, but again, she has a live journal.
I know.
They don't even break stories. They don't do anything. It's just a little op-ed page.
And she doesn't get many hits either, but she's very famous, very controversial. It's probably like an overpay for sure. And I don't know if she got handed 150. I'm sure that breaks down into a lot of like team options and like
there were probably other investors involved. You're right. I don't know the schematics of it. Also, I felt like that was a message.
BW2 LLC.
I felt like the whole thing was a message.
It's a psyop kind of idea, or maybe an industry plan idea, where it's
connected. Like, if you're gonna, I mean, she's very much an industry plant. That's a great description of her.
Well, quite literally, right? Like the industry has planted her in positions of influence, and she's not talented. She's very talented, but she's not talented in like a very sharp way. I don't think she's a dummy. I've heard her talk. She's not my favorite at all. She's not beautiful with words, but she has a tenacity that I find to be unbecoming of a human being, but someone's got to do it.
I don't know about the "someone's got to do it" part, but I mean,
there's
the rest
thousands of people doing it.
the rest I agree with. I don't know if someone has to do it, but I
want someone with like a moral compass to do it. Like, please, someone with like Hassan Piker is close, but like someone with a great moral compass. Can you have this tenacity that Barry Weiss does?
Well, right. I just mean with her, it's like, I think she worked for like Brett Stevens, or then she's in the New York Times, and made her bones and her celebrity off of like campus culture and cancellation. You're just like, oh, you had the most tiresome trajectory. And then she starts this new media enterprise that's basically just regurgitating the Israeli talking points. And I feel like that's what the free press was rewarded for. It was rewarded for being conservative. It was rewarded for being hyper pro-Israel. And she was rewarded for being an attack dog. And it's like, we're going to make sure that you're more powerful and your platform is more powerful. It was less about the value that she brought than the inverse. Like them trying to boost her up and her platform up with that kind of capital investment.
It's like the Knicks, usually the classic Knicks behavior with Steve Mills in the summer. It's just like, I can't get the truly talented players, but I'm going to get something that make you happy enough. We tried, right? And if CBS is like, we need to shift to a place that I don't care about, whatever, the middle, where whatever, or even farther right. And they're like, who are our candidates? And they're like, oh, we can't do Shapiro. We can't do this motherfucker. This guy's annoying. People hate him already. But anyways, fine. Amari Stoudemire, would you like a max contract?
I mean, I view her a little bit more like an Anthony Simons. We're like, okay, we understand you've ran out of talent. You're okay, but what if we put you in the Celtics offensive system, surrounded by a bunch of smart players with incredible spacing? So we're going to give you the CBS platform and all of our billions of dollars surrounding it. You know, this ability to put your voice in all these places to make your platform bigger. We can turn you into a star.
Yeah, maybe. And also, I have to do the annoying thing, which is like, we're all mad that there's no more diners in New York City, but like, when's the last time you went to a diner? Like, I've not tuned into CBS for news, and I'm medium online, 4 out of 10, right? I do not give a F about CBS News.
You know, I was talking with my mom about politics, and she's like, well, Fox News. I'm like, I don't know anyone who watches Fox News. I watch it more than CBS. But I occasionally see a clip from it. You know, something will go viral or whatever.
Oh, it's a highlight network. Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, they're all highlight networks.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Did you turn on Saturday Night Live? Like, fuck no. But I saw that one thing that kind of went viral every 6 months. Text me what I missed. Yeah. Who was on it? Oh, okay. Nah, I'm not going to watch that either. Cool.
Did Colin Joe say something gross about his wife? I saw that.
Yeah, all of them are. The only thing, I was going to say the only thing that matters is basketball, clearly. I mean, and that's why Cookies Hoops sold for so much money.
Right. I mean, the Barry Weiss thing, she is maybe more hated than I think. But it is, I think, a version of CBS maybe throwing up one of many Hail Marys to try to get traction somewhere. It's like, we need kind of a famous person here. We need somebody in charge. Like, a lot of industries are doing this now, and I don't think there's any way to avoid someone like Barry Weiss in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, but it's also, CBS is owned by Larry Ellison. He is very much a man with an agenda. I mean,
ABC, all this stuff. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you could take the idea that, like, okay, we're trying different stuff out, but it seems to all be trying to go in one direction versus, we don't know what works, so we're going to try stuff out. Like, okay, you just saw what happened in New York with Zoran. Okay, so we should start like a huge leftist site. Oh, no, they're not doing that part.
No, there's no money in that. Leftists hate leftists.
No.
They want viewers. Yeah, leftists hate themselves.
Well, there might be money in leftist stuff, except for the fact that they're in opposition to the people who own all these companies, like billionaires. Yeah, so it just kind of doesn't work either way. It would be really a self-defeating endeavor for a billionaire to say, we're going to start a leftist media company that's going to be explosively popular. And they taxed me for everything I had.
MSNBC. Right. It's like, if you want, I sort of think about, stop me if we already potted about this or it's my internal monologue, you know, Trump being angry at Hollywood not being right enough. But if you commit yourself to good storytelling, virtue and honorable ideas are always on the side of maybe where the left tries to go. And moral stuff is really hard to pitch when you're making money. So when you're making that much money, you're probably not a leftist, let alone a Democrat, because there's so much funny money and so much greed happening. Like, you cannot have the Super Bowl without being an asshole, right? Like, there's so many handshake deals, so many under the table deals that are being made. BW2 LLC, Barry Weiss, we see you. Planting trees, all this stuff. Like, the media at some point throwing Hail Marys is a response to, I think, eyes and attention, where my attention is, is the resistance to it, right? Like people who are making a ton of their own money on their own platforms, Substack, or Twitch, or any of those things. There's big money there, but not network money, right? And like they're trying to they're too big to fail. CBS is not going anywhere, but they want the shares that have been siphoned away from their orbit.
Well, just going back for a second to what you were saying, Trump and Hollywood. It's Hollywood's version of politics is like kind of mirrors, I would say, establishment Democrats for the most part, where it's like, hey, we think racism is bad. We think, bigotry against gay people is bad. We think fascism is bad in these broad senses. And it's like, okay, we're going to have movies that are about fighting Nazis, and we're going to have movies about equality. We're going to have movies about, making a more idealized world. And that makes sense. But that's like the liberal version of Hollywood that Trump bristles at, right? It's not necessarily that Hollywood is like radically left. It's that it's like just nuts and bolts against racism as like a guiding principle, or like pro equality or pro selflessness and heroism. Hollywood for the most part is about superhero stories where there may be anti-heroes and conflicted characters, but it's not even about like subversiveness at this point.
I mean, the stories of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn are part of American lore, right? Like, To Kill a Mockingbird came out a long time ago.
Those are more subversive than the average Hollywood movie, for sure.
This is what I'm saying, right? Yeah. But like, I don't want to say this all contextualized in 2025, but when someone wins the Nobel Peace Prize, whoever that may be, and takes a dig at Donald Trump, and he reads it as, oh, they wanted to give it to me. It's literacy. We're not talking about ideas anymore. We're talking about the ability to read a story, not just the words, but like what the words mean, right? And Task is almost done, right? I saw episode 6 of Task. Get back into it. It's a really good show.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it.
It is sad and complicated. I
know you saw that it's kind of viral tweet where it's like, well, everybody's 12. That was like the punchline.
Oh, I didn't see this. I like this.
It was pretty funny, but it was like, of course you want to go live on a big ranch and have 50 kids and only eat liver and French fries, and of course you're 12.
Sounds good.
It's like, you're 12, right? And that was the whole thing, was that all these ideas that people have that they're very comfortable expressing and arguing in favor of. It's like, well, yeah, that's because you're 12. That your ideas are incredibly stupid, but it's because you're a child. Like, we're going to stop crime by sending in the National Guard. And it's like, that's what a 12-year-old would do. You'd send in the army. Again, it's a joke that makes fun of conservative ideology by calling it immature and silly and stupid. That's the meme here, right?
But that's how the mechanics work, right? We wrote a book about this, basically. It's like, well, my team won, therefore it is the best team. And we're like, what about the transitive properties? Like, too complicated, right? And it is hard to compare eras in sports. It is hard to compare the actions of a man who is illiterate, not in terms of like being able to read and write, but being able to understand causation and causality, correlation and causality, and all these ideas that are annoying. And I've heard recently in my YouTube feed, which I'm obsessed with, is like, oh no, I'm sorry for bringing up his name, Ezra Klein. I'm very sorry. But it was an interview with someone who I deeply love, who is Brian Eno. And he was on the Ezra Klein show. And Eno has a new book out, and he's having a documentary come out. I used to follow this guy around, go to see him lecture in New York. Like, I think he's one of my faves. And they were talking about literacy, art literacy, and the ability to act upon information and transmute your feelings into like data point. And there's a certain kind of embarrassment with people who talk about feelings well. It's cringe. Generations have mocked it. There's a way to talk about that icky dude that everyone knows who talks about poetry. But those sometimes are the emotionally literate people who understand when a Nobel Peace Prize winner is taking a shot at the President of the United States.
I don't want to be a declinist because I am not one. And I think we've discussed many times in this pod how the human brain is unknowable in certain ways. And when it's confronted by new technology, we don't exactly know what that's going to do. But I did see that brain scan thing where they're talking about ChatGPT, and you're like, well, that's not great.
I mean, what are you asking ChatGPT? It's like, Chat, tell me how tall JD Vance is. Tell me how fat he is. Or are you asking ChatGPT, what are the wonders of the universe?
I mean, look, not everyone can be, JJ Redick and have these highfalutin, intellectual, cosmopolitan conversations with a language learning model.
Was the pick and roll discovered or was it invented?
Well, he just has a thirst for knowledge. He loves to explore and find things out, much like Christopher Columbus, if you will.
ChatGPT, what would I look like if I had both arms covered in tattoos?
Yeah, I think what strikes me about the UR12 meme is like there is like the coarsening of society. Like, yo, Trump is really dumb. He's really, really dumb, and he's really old. And that doesn't mean he doesn't have certain types of intelligence. He's come this far.
He has intelligence, yes. He knows how to manipulate Elon Musk. Was savvy.
There's stuff he can do.
Yeah.
There's stuff he can do.
Yeah.
But just hearing him talk about stuff, like, this is not good.
No, he's not. Oh, boy. Yeah. No. He is dumb in a visceral way. And, we have to strive to attribute him with smart stuff. But it takes a lot of intelligence for a person to even do that.
However, there are some anomalies here. One of his staunchest allies, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is now the vanguard candidate for the populist movement of America. Who saw it coming? MGT.
It's hard for me to hear her initials and not think of Machine Gun Kelly. I'm sorry. So I got to refocus. What deal with the Saudis was she eliminated from? Something happened money-wise where she got like the short end of some stick. I think all these politicians, especially her, go into it being like, I'll say whatever to get that money. I'll do whatever. I'll support a pedophile to get this money. And she did a 180. But I wonder what kind of monetary punishment she was levied.
I have no idea. I actually don't know.
We'll never know. Yeah. But this is about money, isn't it? This is not about her conscience.
I have no insight into either way.
Well, okay. How about this? Let me rephrase this. Based off of all of her other policies and words and actions of her tenure as a public servant, do you think she was motivated by morality or motivated by power?
I guess the problem with her is that I don't know like the baseline for her. Did she say a bunch of... Well, no, I know that, but I'm saying, did she use the MAGA movement? I'm not saying she's sly like a fox. I'm just saying, did she use the MAGA movement and align with it because it got her to power, as you said? Yeah. And then once she was there, she was like disillusioned by certain things, and then
she is not smart. Yes.
Or,
I think something
as you're
happened.
Saying, was it as simple as like oh, they decided not to pay her in this, so then she
Yeah.
turned against them. I mean,
Yeah.
this could be the
I think
case. I don't know.
I mean, in her new word, she talks about um, her kids' inability to pay their insurance and their premiums going up, and not having the government in session or active is hurting her family. And everyone's like, "Well, we have no sympathy for her nice words now because it's like McConnell being like, wait, maybe Trump isn't great." I'm like, dude, what? We have memories.
Well, it's funny because if you go back, I don't know, whatever, let's say to George W. Bush, they talked about, compassionate conservatism. That was, the end result may not have looked that different from what Trump does or even what some of the Democratic Party does. But
Are you
there
sure?
was this idea. Well, I mean, under George Bush, I'm saying, wow, was he that different from Barack Obama? Like, ultimately,
No, Barack
maybe
Obama
not.
had a lot of the same people crossing over, but
But I'm saying this concept, right, of compassionate conservatism.
can you describe that without using that phrase?
Well, his idea was that he was steeped in both, the economic platform of conservatism while also appealing to evangelicals. So this idea of saying,
Saving money
Yeah.
and then ingratiating wealth to
yes,
private.
yes, we're going to be conservative. Yes, we're going to cut programs, but it's with compassion we do this. We're not doing it out of spite. We're doing this with love. We're doing this because we want to help people.
And Elon Musk says this, right? He's just like, Bible adjacency, you're going to suffer before you don't suffer. And we're doing this because we're trying to make a better you in the end. In the end, our bad parenting is going to create a stronger you.
Right, tough love. Right, this idea. But Trump and them don't really do that.
Are they not doing it now as we
I
speak?
mean, well, J.D. Vance tries to use this idea, but this version of the Republican Party, in my opinion, is a sort of like more nakedly mean-spirited. And I mean, someone like Dick Cheney was, and Ari Fleischer was. Again, I think the
And
DNA
Marjorie
of the
Taylor Greene was, right.
I think, but this is what I'm saying. I think the DNA of the Republican Party has pretty much been the same. So what I'm saying is, MG.
Are you sure? Wait, I sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
It is still the Republican Party, but this version, the Project 2025, is as different to the Democrats, who are not that different. Do you know what I mean? There's still degrees of separation from what MAGA and Project 2025 want to do with the country from classic conservatives, in the same degree as like Democrats, who are pretty close to classic conservatives, are. So like, we're not talking about a literal Joel Embiid 180, but it is a departure from the GOP ideology, and I would almost argue the GOP ideology doesn't exist anymore.
I don't know. I think a lot of it's similar. I mean, even going back to like Goldwater, Nixon. It's some of it's like, in my opinion, tied to like the Southern strategy. It's stuff that was part of racist ideology that has always been beneath the surface of the Republican Party. And someone like George W. Bush would cover it up by saying compassionate conservatism. Like I don't think the Republican Party just suddenly became fascistic or became more bigoted or started caring more about the borders. It was always there. I just think it's like the levels of certain things have been raised up as if it was a mixing board.
I mean, the thing that MAGA got so right and what they planned so well, this has nothing to do with Trump. Trump comes along and kind of siphons this, is they identified the skepticism of a middle voter that could be swayed, and they attacked it. But the funny and upsetting and humiliating part of it is, instead of laying bare these mechanics you speak of, they are continuing them. It's like, if that person stole something, I'm not going to prevent that person from stealing more things. I am going to steal more things because that's what we're doing. So instead of capturing the gray vote, they and doing good things, or addressing what gray voters or middle voters are concerned with, they were like, if these motherfuckers were allowed to do it, then we're going to do it just in plain sight.
Yes. I also think, and this is not to do any relitigation of multiple prior elections and all that. I'm just going to steer clear of that conversation.
My Lyndon B. Johnson game is really tight.
Look, Taft, the thing about Taft, stop glazing Taft. But I think we overestimate the actual popularity of MAGA. That's all, just because of Trump. And
I agree. They're weak
because he's the face of it. There was a stat, and it sounds implausible to me. I just saw it a couple weeks ago, but it was interesting. It was that 70% of the country self-identified as MAGA, and 17% self-identified as Democratic Socialist. Now that seems high for that many people to say, I'm a Democratic Socialist. Personally, even as someone who agrees with that cohort.
Democratic Socialists love doing polls, though. This is the fascination of it.
But
that's a person who loves to check that box.
But all that to say, it's funny that like we viewed this as like the MAGA era because of Trump's presidencies, of course. But you're like, wait, where are all the 7,000 word profiles where people go to Bushwick and they try to see what these Democratic Socialists are all about?
Right.
Why are we just rooting around in like rural Iowa at the diner asking yokels questions? Go to Mood Ring and see what these socialists are all about.
Yo, if you're so
pronouns, they're into that.
If you're such an Antifa expert fan, name me 5 Antifa members.
All I know is that they are going to find these Antifa guys and bring them to justice.
I mean, I heard
all sorry, just thinking of the clips from Portland of like people in inflatable animal suits. Yeah. And Trump's like, this war zone.
Tear gassed. Hey, he just wants someone to show up in all black so he can get that photo. So he can be like, see, I told you this thing existed. Just Democrats don't have to take the bait. But if you went to, and I'm going to switch gears here, if you've said your piece this episode.
Yes, one other thing here, and this is just sort of adjacent to this. How come all these big doofuses get to wear masks? Come on, get the fuck out of here. That's insane. Okay, here come these large guys with guns, no idea who they are, and they're here to grab Julio off of a ladder. Why are they allowed to wear masks over their faces? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. You can't allow law enforcement to cover their face. It's insane. They need to have some kind of accountability under the law because they're being paid by the taxpayers. That is just crazy. These masked goons running around. It's insane.
It's like Bruce Wayne. Who's that under Superman? Take off those glasses.
Look. Bruce Wayne was privately funding his vigilante operation. Yeah. He's allowed to wear a mask.
Well, it's crazy, and this is like the dumbest thing, but I always have to remind myself. The Constitution was written to protect us, not the dudes in the masks and the guns and the bulletproof vests. The whole point of the Constitution was to protect the person who's getting hogtied or dragged out of their car and sent somewhere strange away from their kids. That's what the Constitution is for. But it's just the C-bomb talking about dropping the right C-bomb today. I've been thinking about this in terms of like the art market, right? And people are saying like, we need more connectivity. We need to get our boots on the ground and talk to collectors, talk to artists, talk to people. We need to story build from the ground up again. And
I love storytelling. Go on.
I kind of call bullshit on that. I'm just like, there's too much storytelling. It's too annoying. Someone puts up a portrait, be like, well, this is my memories and this is my family tree. My great grandfather was. I'm like, dude, snooze fest, Portland Trailblazers. That's where the fatigue comes from. And I think unconsciously, what people in power and very wealthy, maybe market artists understand is the less information, the better. The less information, the more power you have. Are you holding up cookies? Basketball.
Now, to many people, this would just be a hat.
What do you? This is audio, so you got to tell people what.
Well, some people might see this on video, but
Okay.
it's a yellow hat that's sold out in the Cookie Soup store. Maybe there'll be some more. And it shows a beautiful embroidered wilderness scene. Mountains, snow-capped, evergreens. A creek or stream winding. Crick. Winding in between it. And above it, in red lettering, very tasteful, it says basketball. It's on a yellow hat, dad cap style. Mm-hmm. Now, to many people, it's just a hat. It's just a beautiful hat available for $40 on a website. But to me, Andrew, there's a longer story about that hat, about the interns and cages, gruel. A lot more goes into that hat than people understand.
The interns have had this thought for maybe many years, right? About the specificity and generality of ideas and emotions and what that kind of looks like, sounds like, or feels like. And to your point about what's up with these masks, I'm like, maybe they have figured out that there is immense joy, power, and hatred that's possible with the less you say. The less you say, man, you're scary to me. The less information we have. Hassan Piker gives us a lot of good thoughts and a lot of extraneous thoughts. Those extraneous pieces of information could possibly be his charm or his downfall. It's hard to tell. Someone who does not say much, like this guy Vogt, who is behind the government shutdown, mysterious character. What do we know? I'm not like Luka Doncic playing in Europe. We know nothing. He's just a mystery, a cloud of influence.
Like Kawhi Leonard type.
Right. So JD Vance goes on TV, says all this stuff. His job is to be specific and contribute data points to confuse us. Vogt is the guy who's running the show.
Well,
Anonymity.
Let's talk about anonymity. Let's talk about minimalist anonymity.
All right.
Let's talk about you now being put on the National Autism Registry. No, the National Autotecher Registry.
We're talking about that minimal techno band from Warp Records, London, called Autotecher, right? And they played in London. Hey, if you want to go see where Antifa's hanging out, it's at this show. It went viral online because they had many rules going on. For example, on a poster, before you walk in, it says, all their lights will be turned off. Please plan on being in one place for the performance and do not move unnecessarily. Do not move until the lights have come back on. Do not shine any lights on stage. Do not take photos in case of emergency, etc., etc. It was a very choreographed thing, and it went viral, right? These guys are old heads now. I saw them in the early 90s. Same stuff, dark room, only the glow of the laptop. Thought that was interesting, right? Like, it got roasted a little bit online because someone said I was there, and there was many men, not many girlfriends, who were all annoying, high ponytails, maybe like in the middle to late ages. Basically the most uncool crowd you can think of, which was funny because I remember seeing them at Home. Do you remember that venue Home in New York in the mid 90s? That's what the scene was like then. So I am not sure if history repeats itself or if young people just despise old people.
I think about places that put up rules of conduct. You could have like a Berghain, right? It's like, well, this is the hottest place on earth. This is like the hardest door the club that every DJ wants to play at, mecca for people who are into techno
That
or
poop
industrial
room.
music.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get down to the poop room, you've got to abide by these rules.
That's right. I'm sure there's lots of rules for the poop room.
The poop room's rules I'm not familiar with, but there's got to be rules, one would assume.
Yeah. Goggles, number one.
But
Or not. Depends on what your kink is, Nick Nurse.
I was going to say, yeah, hard to know what the rules would be. I think
I love getting pink eye.
it's beyond me fathoming exactly what the rules may be in this scenario.
Wow.
But when you go in there, it's like, okay, they're putting a sticker on both sides of your phone. The camera's in the back, camera's on the front. Yeah. You got to keep the sticker on. And then you think about like nightclubs that say no photos inside.
Comedy
I get
shows.
it. Comedy shows. That makes
As
more
you
sense.
hear the
right?
screaming of my child. Right.
But I went to a place, my friend was visiting from out of town, and she was like, yeah, I want to check out this place. I was like, okay, cool. And it's this like listening room in Tribeca. And you go there, and you're not supposed to talk. And they just play records. And there's a DJ, and they're playing like soul
Is this
records
the whiskey ward?
and
Was
80
it somewhere
records.
else? Yeah.
It was somewhere in that vicinity. It's kind of around like where Paul's Baby Grand is.
Like
And I was
the
like, I
Scotch
can't.
room? Yeah.
And like, well, you only get 2 hours. That was the Japanese Scotch place, I think, that you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. But this place, you only get 2 hours. I'm like, are you shitting me? So you sit there and you order some drinks and they have food and you just sit there. Mm-hmm. And they're playing songs and they have this really hi-fi system. And it does sound great, of course, but they're still just playing records. It's like, go to Lit, watch Quo and Wildman, play Waka Flocka, but do not talk. Just absorb the sounds of Lex Luger. Lex Luger.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of happens. The no screens thing. I went to an opening at a small gallery years ago, and I wanted to take a picture. And I took out my phone, and the gallery owner, who's an old friend, was like, I don't mean to be that person, but we're not going to exist online. We don't have an IG profile. We don't let people take digital photos of the work. I'm like, okay, but you're going to be out of business in a show. And they were. No one came through. It was hard to find all this stuff. And like, in order for this to work, there has to be some sort of heat. Autechre is a very beloved group. I love that band. People love Aphex Twin for his visuals, but Autechre's music celebrated before they got super weird. And when you have that kind of interest, like a pizza shop like Scars that sells out, and they're like, hey, listen, like, we're not gonna make any more variations on what we have. Series Pizza is going through the same thing. We can dictate the rules like Supreme because we have the demand. But when you don't, it's interesting. Like this place, I've heard about these places. I've been to places like this in Japan where like, there's no phones here. We're going to listen to jazz and we're going to have highballs and we're going to talk to each other. And you need to give your seat over when you're done with your 2 drinks, minimum.
This was clearly based on that idea. But I just sat there next to my friend for 2 hours, didn't talk, and was like, all right, good to see you. I'm taking off.
Oh, I would have just left. Like, what I don't like about, like, when I used to be a single young man and going on dates, like, I hated movies and shows because you can't talk. I was like, how am I going to get to know this person if I don't talk?
I agree, but this wasn't a date. If it was a date, I would have been like, all right, can we just like wrap this up? Right. No, this was someone I was gonna catch up with. I was like, okay, cool. We didn't catch up, but I heard some Teddy Pendergrass. That was cool.
That's cool. I mean, I don't like catching up with people in groups larger than 4, right? Because invariably it splits off into 2 conversations. Whatever, it's not a big deal, but I think the rule making is always tough. Talk about YMCA legends. There's always that dude at the YMCA pickup who holds the ball and it's like, I don't like what I'm saying. Like, that was a travel. I thought that was a foul. I'm like, dude, we don't have to do this. We can let a foul call go. But I feel like it is within human nature to police. Even people who are not into policing is a form of policing. We only have structure to live by because chaos and anarchy are the spirit, but very not useful in practice.
When I was in Montreal, I was walking down, I think, Saint Laurent, and I noticed this bookstore, and it was an anarchist bookstore. Sign, anarchist bookstore. Kind of looked in the window for a second. It was like a older dude just by himself at his desk, and I was like, "What am I going to do in there? Get some anarchist literature? I don't really. I'm not mad at you. I love that you're an anarchist. I love that you're here in your anarchist bookshop. And in my mind, he's studying anarchy, but he's probably doing a crossword puzzle or ordering something. But I'm like, you're fighting the good fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anarchists have a lot of political power in the way that we think of it, because we think of anarchists not being fascists.
Mm-hmm.
But we have anarchists in charge in many ways.
Yeah.
And it's not the little guy up in Montreal.
No, it's funny you bring up Montreal because I associate that city with anarchy, that political leaning, and so many bands that I love from there. And probably the most famous one is Godspeed You Black Emperor, who I think was famous at one point for playing an arena with 9 Inch Nails and having political differences with the person who owned the arena, and was like, we're just going to give away all the proceeds because we don't abide by these politics, but we have to support our friends who asked us to open for them on tour. And
Montreal does, just to interject here, Montreal absolutely has that political history that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, especially, yeah, it has that culture, and that culture has crossed over into artworks like Godspeed You Black Emperor and love Constellation Records, love that whole thing. But like, right, this is the dilemma, I think, that you speak of with this anarchist bookstore that Godspeed actually had, which is, if a part of us has an activist leaning because we want to influence people with our ideas because we believe them to be virtuous, how many concessions do we have to make before we end? If the person at the anarchist bookstore is doing a crossword puzzle in the New Yorker, but knows the New Yorker is owned by Condé Nast and follows that money, and whoever they pay rent to, or however Canada gets some of their gross national product and what they sell to whom, it gets to be a succession of bends and compromises. But at a certain point, everything has to break. Be like, okay, I know I have an Apple iPhone, but like, this is where I draw the line. We're all complicit in capitalism, but like, where you stop, sort of like painting. Where an abstract painter chooses to end is the artwork.
Yeah, I mean, so the idea of MTG, I was going to say 8 Ball and
Machine Gun
MJG.
Kelly, right? MJG, right?
MTG being, as I said, the vanguard candidate. So that idea is that it's very difficult to make small changes. Like, amazing, we got AOC in and like Zoran, and there's going to be these little small changes, but the system itself is just so overwhelmingly large and powerful. And it's like the Boston media mafia in postseason awards. It's just very difficult to upend an entire system that is fully corrupted in many, many ways, like as an institution. So sure, you can get your lone ethical basketball voter in there, but how do you change the system? And eventually they get ground down to bits and replaced. So the idea of the vanguard party is part of leftist ideology. I don't think it would be anarchist because it's too organized for that, but the socialists, even communists. But the idea is that the people are so strong that you kind of become a temporary dictatorship where it's like you just sweep everyone from power who has been holding the reins because you have the people. You have such an overwhelming, dominant majority of people on your side that you just remove everybody from office, and then you can make huge, massive changes in a short term. And I think we have the possibility for that for the first time that I can think of in our lives. I also don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it sounds naive of me to even hear myself say this, but I do believe in the Constitution, and I do believe in checks and balances, and where it is fracturing more than I've ever seen in my lifetime, I still believe in this experiment as a good one and kind of proven and unproven. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is fascinating as a person, right? Because she was such a symbol of something that I personally did not agree with spiritually. And I have to force myself to be the best version of myself and to acknowledge what I always say is like forgiveness and change are like two characteristics of human beings that make us beautiful. And I don't trust her. I think this is about money. I just think this is about money. But for her to say these words that I think ring true to me is nice. And I do not want to be someone that's too cynical to think that someone like her cannot see the light.
I mean, I wish that there was a politician of equal status in the Democratic Party who was also speaking truth to power in a way that you could say, what if this was a ticket? Just for the sake of argument.
You're talking Marjorie Taylor Greene as one half of it. Damn, you trust her more than I do, man. She just lost out on some money. Come on.
No, I'm not even saying I trust her. I'm more interested in the idea of like, can we see a reconfiguration of the current party system? Because I think it's already happening, but the left and the MTG, like populist right, are being left out of it. It's already happening, in my opinion. I think you can see this. The fascists, the neoliberals, the tech lords, the billionaires, they're all kind of cohering with like Ezra Klein as the little like as like part of the gang, as like the moral compass of this seedy gang. And I'm like, oh man, we're outside of this. They don't have a lot of people. They just have a lot of power and money and media access. If we could just get the unity party of, say, Piker and Marjorie and just roll our way to the presidency.
I think Piker's a good person. Just for some color, anecdotal color, I saw Ezra Klein in the bookstore this weekend. The kids section. Apparently, we have kids kind of in the same vicinity of age, and I wouldn't consider myself an Ezra Klein apologist. I don't enjoy many of the things people are angry about him that many people are angry about him over. But I also think that like it's hard to do his job, and sometimes bandwidth is bandwidth, and maybe he does not have the dog that someone like Piker does. But I saw him with his kids, and I'm like, I felt, not to get too hooked, I felt compassion for him, because I'm like, man, this is a bad week for you. This has been a bad month. Like, ooh, the internet does not like you, and the internet is your bread and butter. But you're just a nice father reading books to your kids. I'm like, God damn, man. Like, I hope you're at peace. If I had talked to him at that moment, I would have said like, dude, I hope you can drown this out and live like a nice Saturday with your family. I was thinking about buying these shoes, and he was wearing them. I'm not going to buy them anymore.
You're like, oh, I feel compassion
nice.
for you, but those are anti-drip.
Well, I don't want to have my drip king be Ezra Klein. That's all. I mean, I can have compassion for his suffering, or maybe he doesn't care. I feel bad for him, but I also respect him quite a bit, but not drip wise.
I mean, I know that he has a job to do for the Central Intelligence Agency, and he works on their behalf in media. He is a government asset. I understand.
He's also the target. He is the most
challenging
visible,
job.
right?
It's a challenging job to be the face of the CIA. It's tough.
I mean, sheesh. If you really want to get into it, like I was thinking about this when people are like, he is a psyop, a plant, whatever. And I was like, I went looking.
He's such an industry plant.
But then I was looking at stuff that doesn't seem like it would be. Like, what are the countercultural things? Like abstract expressionist painting. We know that was kind of a government concocted idea, funded or researched at least. They were spying on painters. But they were actually like involved. And weed, acid. They were involved in all these countercultural things that that ring true to me in historically speaking. So I started looking at like Vice. I started looking at like fashion. I'm like, what am I missing? Because Ezra Klein is the easy one. That's what suckers fixate on. Not to say any of us are suckers.
No, I know. I'm saying
he's
I know
the misdirection.
He's walking around with like a CIA tattoo on his forehead.
Him and Barry Weiss are the misdirection. If you wanted to go down this rabbit hole, because knowing the documentation about abstract expressionism, I'm just like, what are we missing? Is Aimé Leon Dore the real plant? Maybe that's even too obvious. Is Supreme the plant?
We talked about the Rolling Stone article, right? About the collaboration between the media and the CIA.
No,
I think we did.
We have not. Maybe. I
don't
remember.
Fascinating. I highly recommend everyone reading it. It's from 1977. It's Bernstein of Woodward and Bernstein wrote it, and it's a
familiar. Yep.
Long story, a couple thousand words, and he was using his own research, but also a lot of information that came out of court cases. And George Bush, not George W. Bush, his father, who was running the CIA, was like, we're not going to give you all our records of how much we collaborate with members of the media, but we'll give you some like little thumbnails, like little profiles without identifying information of some of the people we work with over the last, whatever it was, 8 years, 10 years, however. And they're like, here's 400. And they're like, excuse me? It's just some of the people that we've worked with. And it was like editors, photographers, writers, broadcasters, producers, on-air talent. It was just this sprawling list of basically like everybody in media. And from Bernstein's and from basically and Bernstein's research, he's like, the New York Times worked with them more than anybody else. That, you know, they signed, the publisher signed like a confidentiality memo that he wouldn't reveal how much they worked with them. This could include planting CIA agents as reporters, ABC, NBC, CBS, like the Washington Post. It's just everybody.
And
everybody
now
was working.
Twitch, Substack, you know, like.
Well, my larger point was that we make these jokes, and then you're like, but that was true. As you said, COINTELPRO, that was true. Operation Chaos was true. It's like, who are you, you tinfoil hat lunatic? I'm like, no, but these things happened. They had congressional hearings about them. They were reported in reputable places. It's almost like the waves of time have turned things that we know were true into these fringe ideas, because then if you believe it about what's happening now, that makes you a psycho.
Literacy. This is the literacy part, right? It's just like, well, who wrote those pieces? Do we have to question them? I'm like, no. Keep it simple. It's like, well, why would Ballmer do that anyway? It's like, to get Kawhi Leonard. It's like, well, there's other players. I'm like, you are not literate. Mark Cuban, you are not literate.
But it's like, yeah, it's like that book Dark Alliance by Gary Webb. It goes out and he like really decisively and thoroughly proves that the CIA and Nicaraguans and South Central were all involved in the cocaine trade to funding, you know, insurgents and right-wing guerrillas in Nicaragua. Like he writes the whole book, he proves the whole thing. I've read a lot of that book. It's so granular. It's just like, Then Hector Sanchez met so-and-so. You're like, oh my God, this is so boring. Fine, I believe you, dude.
I know.
And he was
It's
just
like,
defamed by everybody. He was defamed by everybody. Like, yeah, his debunked book. It wasn't debunked.
totally. It's like, well, I didn't read it, but I don't believe it. And it's like, where are his sources? Like, they're right here. It's just like, well, I just don't believe it. Which is a
Like,
powerful
he's
thing. Less information, right?
Like he's a psycho. It's not true. He's a disgraced newsman who then killed himself by shooting himself in the head with bullets twice.
10 feet away. Yeah. And it's like, this is the whole idea of like less is powerful. And if you don't write a granular book, if you don't sign Malcolm Brogdon, if you don't sign Landry Shamet, like, it is a more powerful idea. As soon as you get granular, you have, I don't know if it personifies the argument or if it creates a different kind. I think it creates like a different kind of mechanism where you start questioning the mechanics of a thought rather than the morality of a thought. And you cannot tell me that James Dolan is not a CIA asset. Like, I just believe it. But if you told me granularly, it's just like, and then he signed Malcolm Brogdon, I'll be like, well, he's not that good, so I don't believe this whole premise.
Similarly, Andrew, you can't tell me that Dame Lillard is not at the top of the Cookies Hoops Unk list for 2026.
Okay. I got some questions for the interns. First of all, it's the perfect list. There's no list better than this. So I'm not debating the rankings here. But does this list require that this player be like good, active? Is there an age cutoff? What do the interns mean by Unk?
I believe from what the interns have relayed over Slack.
Get back in your cage. Sorry, I was just talking to interns.
That it's really about Unk energy. It's about the uncular force of the.
And we don't hate Unks. We are. I'm part Unk. I'm 4% Unk.
Like you've been an Unk since you were 16, like Kawhi Leonard, who
That's
oddly enough didn't make this list, but maybe that's because he described himself as an Unk. Like
yeah, it's misdirection. He's not much of an Unk.
It's delicate. It's delicate.
He's a criminal, an NBA criminal. He went against the rules to de-unkify himself. No Unk would do what he did.
This is true. Now, and the interns keenly are aware of this. I think there was an oversight here, and just as a mistake was made in the
Is it another
list,
Porter Jr. oversight?
Fortunately, none of the Porter Juniors are Unks.
Yeah, no.
But similarly, and I just want to say that, the one thing about Cookies Hoops is that we value transparency and accountability. And
granular, as they say.
It turns out that Garrett Temple, who was deleted from this list because the interns didn't know that he was on the Toronto Raptors, probably should have been on here because that man is an Unk. Garrett Temple is a prime Unk.
I like these characters like Temple and Jeff Green who defy time.
Number 11 on the Unk list, Jeff Green.
Yeah.
Whose nickname is Uncle Jeff.
Right. I mean, I remember when he was a rookie on the Supersonics with Kevin Durant. I believe they got drafted in the same year. I could be mistaken, but like...
I remember one time you took him aside and you said, you may not understand this now.
Yeah.
But sometime 15, 20 years from now,
yeah,
you're going to be the number 11 Unk in the NBA.
And to that he said, why not number 10?
Well, you're nobody healed, sir.
Who's older than time and space. But yeah, it's like I love these characters like Taj Gibson, just defies time. It just a constant. We have these mascots running around in colorful costumes at Antifa rallies, but these are the symbols of our wonderful league.
some of these characters that you mentioned were looked up, and it's unclear if they're on a team. Taj Gibson, another one of those who was
He's about to be on a team.
It was unclear if he was Unk eligible. Also, James Johnson, not sure if he's still on the Pacers at this point. There's a few guys. Markieff Morris, the Morris twins, are they in the league?
Is he in jail? Which twin is in jail? Which twin got out of jail?
I don't know. These are all uncular figures, but ideally you should be in the NBA to be a true Unk. PJ Tucker, obviously an Unk, but same situation. The Garrett Temple one, again, I want to say, we take accountability for the intern's errors. The intern who made that mistake has been relieved of his duties. Yeah. He's gone. And that's what I'm talking about when I say accountability. So if you have an issue with that list, take it up with them, not me and Andrew. Not our problem, not our fault.
I hate to sell out one of the interns, but one of the interns took me aside and be like, I'm not comfortable telling Ben this, but I think Giannis Antetokounmpo should be higher on this list. He is the true. He's over. Number 12 is too low for a true Unk. I don't want to name names, but an intern did tell me that.
I get that. One of the more controversial Unk figures on here was Mikal Bridges, who I think is about probably 27 years old. Is he just a big bro?
It's a delicate balance between like corny Unk energy, like bad jokes and like awkward behaviors, to real hip hop. I don't classify Mikal Bridges as real hip hop, and the Nas adjacent themes of the way they interact with us, the media, the game, their teammates. But there's also like this weird corniness that Mikal Bridges has that's extremely Unk energy.
I agree. Another one, Joe Ingles. I believe he's on a team. The Unks are tricky because I think he's on the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Is that Unks are endangered. That's part of what makes them such.
That's why we must celebrate them.
Lovely chimerical beasts, really.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Love in Utah. The only reason why Kevin Love is still in the league is because of that valuable Unk energy. Because you may not enjoy these like birds of prey or like these slow moving slugs, but we need to keep the environment intact.
Well, right. There's a diversity of Unks where there are the CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton Unks who are there as stabilizing veterans for the young Europeans who are on the Washington Wizards. They got rid of guys like Jordan Poole or Kyle Kuzma who were too ambitious, too younger millennial, had their own hopes and dreams. And they found guys like Middleton and CJ who are basically just members of the Players Association at this point. They're figureheads. And those are the kind of Unks that you can put next to players who are 21, 22 years old, and they can help them on the court and off the court. But then you've got a Udonis Haslem archetype who's just a cop.
Oh, he's a police officer, sort of like Autechre, doing a show in darkness with a lot of rules. Now, there's going to be some debate because the Aura list is about to drop very soon. And there is some crossover. I see James Harden's name, number 28 Unk. But is he on the Aura list as well? Can you exist on both spectrums at the same time? Can you contain multitudes?
Absolutely. I mean, the idea that there are not some Unks with Aura. Yeah. I mean, I think we can both speak to that.
Dr. Unkenstein. Yeah.
OGs with Aura, big bros with Aura. Absolutely.
And you don't have to be old to be an Unk. You can be a youthful person, but have a Unk spirit. Like, for example, Grant Williams. Not that old, but heavy Unk spirit. He's been breaking basketball cards online.
Kevon Looney might be 28 years old, or he might be 37. It doesn't matter. He's Unk.
Yeah. It's like when you said extinct, I was like, is there a species of bird called the loony bird? I was thinking of the dodo, but like, is there? I'm thinking Looney Tunes, Space Jam. It all comes together. This Unk list is amazing.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned loonies because the Canadian $2 coin has a loon on it. And they call them, no, maybe it's a $1 coin. They're called loonies. It's a 1. And the 2 has something else on it. They're called toonies. What a ridiculous country.
Those anarchists trading loonies or swearing off loonies.
What's that cost? One
toonies.
loony or 2? Is that a loony or a toonie? Tell me now.
You have a toonie to spare?
Well, what's on the loony? Well, that's the one with the loon.
Yeah. So I could have argued, and I do want to make this argument while I have you cornered, that Cooper Flagg should be on this Unk list. That's right. Has not played an official NBA game, but that's some damn Unk energy. And I stick by the whole Julius Randle with hops things because he is good and looks like Julius Randle with hops.
Okay, so Cooper Flagg, I believe he's played 2 or 3, but it might only be 2 preseason games at this point.
Mm-hmm. He looks good. He's alleying, he's open, he's isolating, he's processing the game a split second slower than I want him to. He's got that squared up frame. He is going to be awesome. And I don't think you're ready for this take. I don't prepare. I think he's going to be really good.
Wow.
I said it. I think he's going to be good. He might be an all-star over and over.
Here we go.
He might be the future face of the league.
See, I like that you're going out on a limb because someone had to do it.
That's right.
Someone had to say, I believe in Cooper Flagg. And you did it. You planted your flag on Flag Island for Cooper Flagg.
I saw a couple preseason highlights, and guys, I'm convinced now. I'm convinced he's going to be really, really good.
Folks, you may not have heard of this guy, this Cooper Flagg character, but consider yourselves warned. Andrew Kuo has declared Cooper Flagg is going to be a solid NBA player. And you also believed in Chet Holmgren, so you've got a track record here.
That's right. It's the courage and bravery that me and Marjorie Taylor Greene have shown lately that garners the respect and gravity of my take. That
looks like Quo didn't get his Emirates check.
Yeah. And you know what Chet, Cooper, and Reed Shepherd have in common? Good college educations, Ben. That's right. They have had solid college educations.
So, a little bit more about Cooper Flagg here. He's clearly in the perfect spot for a guy who can do things on a high level that are not individually score. I think he's athletic, he's smart, he's tall,
tenacious.
He plays hard. He's going to catch alley-oops by just running the floor and having people who are capable of getting him the ball, and he can just catch it and dunk it. He's going to have putbacks. He's going to get open looks. He shot pretty poorly from 3 in Summer League. He shot okay. I think he's something like, 3 of 6 or whatever it is. Not enough to know for sure, but his jumper looks fine in the preseason games so far. That said, he really isn't going to be asked to do the tough stuff that most number 1 picks are. And that could be fine because he's on a team that includes guys like Kyrie Irving, who's hurt right now, but also Anthony Davis, a team that went to the finals 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. They're essentially a calendar year removed from going to the finals.
Right.
But when I watch him play, those same critiques that we had at Duke and the same ones from Summer League still, to me, hold true, that he just has not figured out the ability to score individually yet because it's hard to do at a high level. And he's too straight line. He has no wiggle. There's no deception. He can catch the ball and he can shoot it. He can run out and catch it and dunk it. He can follow up a putback. There's plenty of stuff he can do. the Mavs just don't need him to do the one thing that he's going to be bad at.
Yeah.
So he'll probably sleepwalk into like putting up 16 and 8, and he'll be really efficient or fairly efficient because he can make foul shots and he's going to get a lot of easy buckets. But I still don't know if he's like going to be a superstar, but maybe this just takes time, kind of in the Tatum style, where it's like he's not a naturally intuitive player, so he's just going to have to become like a mechanical scorer who just is brolic and can sort of just like beast on you going to the basket and then knocks down open shots. He can do his little jab step stuff. I don't know.
His highlights are going to be good. He's going to get to the All-Star game partially through great highlights.
Again, though, I watched that clip of like he cooks LaMelo Ball. He did some kind of sloppy behind the back where it looked like he was going to lose the ball.
Julius Randle, man.
And then he makes a 15-footer, and I'm like, we're glazing? Because I'm not glazing that. That looked like a YMCA play from a guy with no bag. Sorry.
Wow, noted. I'm going to be right. He's going to be really good, and you don't have.
I already think he's. I think he's going to be really good. I just don't see that individual scoring ability yet, which is not a big deal for the Mavs. I just don't see it yet.
Yeah, and like, in terms of recent number 1 overall picks, like Victor Wembanyama, like Cooper Flag is going to be good, but we're talking about two different animals entirely. Ace Bailey also had one good game that was fun. He does have wiggle.
Two good games.
Yeah, he does have wiggle. He is, to me, probably not going to be as good as Cooper Flag, obviously, but an interesting kind of scoring player. Like, can he be more diverse than Jordan Poole's game? Like, I hope so. We haven't seen enough. Con Knipple is kind of like Earthbound. He had one good game, one bad game, I believe. I don't know if he's played a third, but he also in his stocky frame has wiggle.
I think he's pretty good. I forget what he did last night.
Two bad games. He had two bad games.
Played again yesterday.
Yeah, and like I think like 0 for 4 from 3 is what I saw as it was going on. But
these don't count.
These don't count. Like preseason, what I was trying to think, what in life do we have that is as soft a landing as preseason is? It's like, is it youth? Is it like not worrying about insurance or like high blood pressure? Like, but we still like do formative stuff in our youth. This preseason kind of means so little.
I agree. And also, you brought up Ace Bailey, just to talk about him for a second. He's in basically the exact opposite scenario as Cooper Flag, where he's a guy whose skill set is perfect for a team that does not have another primary scorer, unless you're talking about like Keontae George.
Usage king over there.
He's going to get a bunch of shots. He's going to take 18 field goal attempts a game. Thus far, he barely gets to the line. He's just out there hoisting.
Yeah, and I still have doubts.
Cooper Flag is not going to do that. But I'm saying they're both in really good spots for what they can do. Because if Cooper Flag was in Utah and his job was to go out there and take 20 field goal attempts, you would start hearing that he sucks pretty soon. Because Cooper Flag is not good at that stuff. But if Ace Bailey was in Dallas and is supposed to be out there just running the floor and standing in the corner and playing defense and doing things outside of the realm of isolation scoring, we'd start saying he was a disappointment. So I think they'll probably be the 1 and 2 Rookie of the Year candidates. And
Dylan
Ace
Harper
Bailey,
looks good.
He might be really good too. We'll see. I'm just saying he kind of doesn't quite have the same spot though, right? Because you got De'Aaron Fox, who has a max contract and makes $1 zillion, who needs to get his 20. Wemby is going to be an MVP candidate. So Harper might have trouble carving out a distinctive role in that situation. But Ace Bailey might score 23 a game in Utah.
Horribly
and Cooper
inefficient.
Flag might put up, a hyper efficient 18 and 10 on a team that has a top 5 record in the West or whatever. I don't know. I think they're both in good spots. Is my main.
And all rookies
take.
are bad.
My exciting take is that both of these are fine.
Right. Your courageous, brave take is like both players.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
I mean, my take is going to be. I still have strong doubts about Ace Bailey. He finished well in that in the preseason so far, but like, man, he did not look good at Rutgers. And that sample size, he was younger, but that sample size is notable. Dylan Harper did not look good at Rutgers. Like, and they were playing against college kids, and we're not even a year removed from that. And I think like these players are going to get theirs versus tanking teams. They're going to go off against teams who are basically counting. Like, did you hear Joe Tsai this week being like, we want to lose games because he says we want a good draft pick, and that's the goal of the season. I'm like, hey, all you process haters out there, like, this is in plain sight. Cuban has said it. These tech overlords have been saying this the whole time.
A team that I can be proud of, Joseph Tsai.
Yeah, yo,
that's
he
what he
could have
said.
had 2 championships, right?
That's what he said when he traded Kyrie and KD. He wanted a team that he could be proud of, and he just couldn't be proud of that team.
Yeah,
and the team he can be proud of is this one with a bunch of no names, some chuckers that are salary dumps, and intentionally losing. Yeah, no, that's actually what I'm into. No, that's kind of my. No, that is what makes me proud. I love that shit. That's my bag. I love that. I love tanking.
Me and Joe Tsai have a lot in common, though. We're maybe bad at driving, and we don't like unks. Get those unks off my team. KD, Kyrie, Harden, banished. No unk energy at Barclays.
They don't.
Good
they
at
don't
math,
really have any.
Good at
They
math.
don't really have any unks.
Violin. Watch out. Joseph Tsai, I bet you can play the violin.
The last thing about Ace Bailey, and I said this on a IG reel, which was really smart and insightful that I posted with the help of the interns. But I just want to repeat it here. And I thought one interesting thing, little factoid about Ace Bailey is that I was looking at his shot charts. I'm like, what kind of attempts is our guy Ace taking? So, whoa, he's taking a lot of mid-range jumpers, which, as advertised, that's his deal. The guy is a tough shot maker, right? Comparisons to KD, tall scorers. He could be the next Jonathan Bender, they said. But he's taking a lot of mid-range jumpers, and I went and looked. In fact, he's taking more mid-range jumpers, or excuse me, long twos, than anyone in the entire NBA. Anyone in the preseason.
Right.
In the preseason. And if you go back to last year, DeRozan was the only guy who took over 3.5, which is how many he's taking. And remember, he's not getting like 36 minutes a game in the preseason. He's playing like 20-some minutes. So, like, he's taking an insane level of long twos, which is just not allowed in the NBA unless you're a star.
Unless you make a lot of them. And the knock on him at Rutgers wasn't his wiggle, his physical measurement, his ability to get to the rim. It was like, he makes weird decisions. Like, we don't like any. You put together a reel, and it's like, these are all bad shots. Like, we're not into the way he plays basketball. We're into how he might play basketball.
I will say, I think a little of that is overrated. I watched him play. I think he takes bad shots, but I don't think he's a totally dumb basketball player, if that makes sense.
Oh, I didn't say dumb. He's confident.
I just mean. Yes, I just meant when he was passing the ball, he did seem to see the floor okay.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like he was not an unnatural, like, just remorseless chucker in the way of like a Michael Porter Jr., who should have been on the list, but that intern has been
Kevin Porter Jr. We'll never know.
Fired. But he could see the floor and he was willing to make plays. He just took hard shots, which again, I don't like. That's a sign of bad judgment. But it didn't necessarily make me think that he doesn't understand how spaces move around the court and how, like, where your teammates are going to be. He didn't seem dumb. But anyway, yeah, the main thing with Ace Bailey is that the shots he's taking are for superstars. They're for Joel Embiid. They're for Kevin Durant. He can take them in Utah because he is the quote-unquote star. I think he's going to be really good, but mostly he is a perfectly divisive new character where this war about him between the nerds who didn't like him with their protractors and their calculators and their true shooting scores, and like the people who understand real hoops, the true hoopers. We finally like getting a new character that embodies this eternal, like generational schism is exciting, and I'm glad we have him.
Oh yeah, him being good is the optimal outcome, right? Like him being great, Cooper Flag being great, Colin Knippel being good, like all these great characters. Dylan Harper's a bit bland, but he looked good. But there's some like Hanson Yang being good would help boost the stories of the NBA season.
I think VJ could be a fun character too. We've seen a few highlights for him where he's just a ridiculous athlete. I don't really buy his shooting yet. I don't really buy his ball handling.
He's a role player.
But that was also always kind of the knock on him in the draft, but crazy athlete. So do you want to talk a little bit more about the Nets here? Because we haven't really discussed the other New York team this offseason. Absolutely strange franchise.
It's a strange few months, maybe ever since the Mikal Bridges trade, which seemed pretty wise, getting all those draft picks, loading up for a class that had interesting players, like the guys we're talking about, Ace Bailey, Knippel, Dylan Harper. They couldn't trade up to number 1, but they had a lot of picks and they kept them all and drafted players that were kind of reminded each other of each other. And then Joseph Tsai, as we said this week, like he wants a team he can be proud of, and a high draft pick, which was an allusion to the fact that he may not care about winning many games this year because he is interested in securing a star, and the easiest way to do that is through the draft. Morally, where are we considering the NBA just staged games in China and Macau, a gambling capital of the world? Just had games at Abu Dhabi. Now you have an owner openly tanking. Where's the moral center of the NBA?
Oh, that's a big question, but I think it's firmly planted in sports gambling.
It absolutely is. Where's the moral center of sports podcasting? Gambling.
But the point about the Nets, though, is that Joseph Tsai, after being tricked by an incredible adversary, to be fair, he was going up against not only the BMM, because the Nets were easily the biggest threat in the Eastern Conference to the Boston Celtics, but also the naturally hostile New York media, which is always in the Knicks camp versus the Nets camp.
Virtuous.
No one likes the Nets in the media landscape. They're Knicks fans. So he had a really tough bunch of opposition and media forces to fend off, and he couldn't do it. He folded, he crumbled. And in some ways, it has felt like this was what he wanted. We're going to go and become obscure again. Like, he flew too close to the sun. They actually were a legit contender. That year when KD stepped in the line, they should have won the title. They had injuries to Harden and Kyrie and still almost went to the finals. I mean, they would have had to beat someone, I think, or the Hawks, which they would have done. I mean, they were really close to winning titles. And it was too much for him. He couldn't deal with that pressure. And one thing you want to say about James Dolan, to his credit, James Dolan is about that smoke. You can sit there. Well, not really, but he hates it. But he does it, and he understands that comes with the territory. He'll ban you from the stadium. He'll complain. He does all types of shit. But he knows that you have to keep doing stuff. You can't just hide. And the Nets have sort of just went into hiding.
To your James Dolan point, maybe Joseph Tsai, he was new to team ownership in the NBA, looks at his rival across the river and is like, that's how you do it. Not you don't have a good team, Walt Frazier, the Knicks cannot handle prosperity on and off the court, right? Maybe you just kick the can down the line for 2 decades, and then whenever, like, who is the most storied net at this point? Whenever Claxton has a son, sign him, and he'll be the next superstar to bring you out of the doldrums.
Clax 2, more Claxons.
More Clax. Because the only reason why I think Dolan, there's a method to his madness, is because the Knicks are kind of good.
Well, this is true. But yeah, again, I'm not using him as the paragon for excellent ownership. I just mean Joseph Tsai having a team that could have won and tearing it apart is something I've just never seen in like the history of the NBA.
But that is a version of tech hubris, right? He's behaving like a mercenary tech entrepreneur, which he is. That's how he acquired all of his money. He is, and it's also very Chinese, right? It's like, I have to do the uncomfortable thing and slash and burn, make big changes. You need to learn from this thing, and then we can just move on to the next idea, move on to the next idea. It's not necessarily an evolution, but an acceptance of a new philosophy. So he adopted a philosophy of, we're going all in on these players, and immediately shifted to being like, revenue's down, we're not winning games. I don't like the way the media talks of my team and the politics of my point guard. Therefore, I'm going to make another shift in the philosophy of this company.
Yeah, so the current philosophy, it may be to tank, which is tough because the flattened odds, they make being really bad the best option for a tanking team because it puts you in that top 4 automatically. But also very punitive if you're like a team, let's say the Washington Wizards from last season, finished with, I believe, the second worst record and then got like the 6th pick or something like that or whatever it was. Like brutal.
And then the Sixers and Mavs get top 3 picks. Teams that weren't necessarily tanking the year before or that year. And not to go long on this, but I think what I meant by the tech thing is, you know how like tech entrepreneurs, IPOs, like Joseph Tsai, like the company might not be profitable for a while, but I'll still be rich. But the earnings will come eventually. Like Alibaba had its rough years, his company. And it reminds me of the way WeWork operates, being like, yeah, we're hemorrhaging money, but I have $1 billion. I'm just making more and more money. But everyone else, yeah, no one's using our thing. I hope I just don't go to jail. Whoops, like, but
again,
I think
I'm not, yeah. I'm just saying I'm not against tanking. I get it. Like that's the reality is that bad teams need talent from the top of the draft, but winning 18 games and getting Trey Johnson, that's a real kick in the nuts.
It is a kick in the nuts, and I think
with no disrespect to your man Trey Johnson.
Oh, okay.
We're nuts.
Yeah. The time to do it was 12 months ago, and they kinda did, but then didn't finish strong, and kept all 5 picks and kind of drafted the same guy. At that point, in terms of strategy, you probably consolidate a little bit, and you don't have to sign a veteran. But signing Michael Porter Jr., who's also recently said, like, I probably don't want to play after this contract because my back hurts. Like, yeah, on a human level, totally. His back is so messed up. He was an injury risk in the draft, and him saying, like, I don't have the dog after this contract. I'm like, what you guys should have started earlier and done different things earlier.
Well, I mean, just in defense on that, they took that contract for the picks they got back. Maybe it was only 1 pick.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe it was just a placeholder. He was the principal in where the sweetener was the asset. But the picks that they took in the draft, How can you play? How can you develop all those players?
Well, I'm also looking at this roster. So you get Cam Thomas. He took the qualifying offer, and you're only paying him $6 million a year, but he definitely doesn't want to be there because
And
he
he's going to
wanted
take
money,
20 shots until
and
you
they didn't give it to
bench
him.
him.
Well, what else is he going to do? He's now playing for like the first big contract of his life.
His survival.
He needs to score points. Cam Thomas can't go out and score 15 a game this year. He needs to go out and put up 27 and prove that he's as good as Tyrese Maxey or whoever,
Sure.
So you got that. Then you got Michael Porter Jr., who's just, as you said, whether he's on the brink of retirement or whatever, I don't know. But he's making $40 million a year. So, and is your other most notable player. So he's got to get out there. And I look at the roster, I'm like,
Igor Gemin's nice.
I like Daron Sharp. I think he's good.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
He should be traded somewhere at some point. I think he's good. I do not really love Clax. He's okay. I'm not.
He's fine.
He's fine. But
Igor
you look at
Gemin's
the rest
nice.
of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you look at the rest of this team. I like Igor too, but he's a rookie. I'm saying the rest of this team. It's like Terrence Mann. Again, I'm not saying that they're even going to be that terrible. They're almost they're almost weird in a way where you're like, okay, if we're going to have Cam Thomas, Michael Porter Jr., we're going to play Terrence Mann, we're going to play Clax, and Sharp is our center rotation. You might not be that bad. You're just like a team with no upside.
Yeah, I agree. Even with your 5 draft picks. And
But you have a good coach. You might win 27 games with that team.
I just keep on thinking about Alibaba and their stock and their survival. It's like their stock has been sliding for the last half decade, but still, a potential to come through. And he's
Had a good year.
Yeah, but still has the potential to grow or potential to just disappear. And I think a successful person in his industry understands that and has maybe more patience than a normal or a team owner that made their money in loans or Microsoft do. So he's coming at it through a strategy that maybe mimics a more modern company that maybe has a more brittle foundation.
That could be the case. I have one other question for you on the Nets, and this is something that you would understand with your heritage. Do you think that Joe Tsai was reluctant to pay Cam Thomas because Cam Thomas was born in Japan?
Yes. Yeah.
There we go. Boom.
I do. Boom, boom. When people say like I like Asian food, I'm like, what do you mean by that? Or when people say like I'm attracted to Asian women, I'm like, well, it's a very big part of the world.
Oh, you like ladies from Calcutta.
Exactly. Pakistan or the outskirts of Japan, not even Tokyo. Like Asia's huge. But
Uzbeks, huh?
Yes. So, some people may, not you, not the interns, but some people may think Asians are all united in their front. I root for Yuta, no doubt. But that's a complicated part of the world as recently as World War II.
I thought there was some sort of alliance between all of Asia.
Not
Turns
all.
out there isn't.
Some. I mean, gotta be honest. If I saw an Asian person walk through the door, regardless of country affiliation, nationality, I would align with them. But if they were 5'5" and had glasses, too similar, man. They're my mortal enemy.
Would you give the 5'5" glasses Asian the up nod or the down nod?
Down nod, for sure. And I've been the recipient of more down nods than I've been the perpetrator of. Is that the right word? I have gotten a lot of heat from other Asians that you would think we had a lot of common friend potential. We like rap music, we like art, we like basketball. Nope, hate my guts.
Do you think the down nod is a reflection also, though, of your height?
Pre leg lengthening surgery or post leg lengthening?
Have you noticed a difference in the kind of nods you're receiving?
Yeah. Now that I'm super tall, it's an up nod. When I was super short, it was a down nod.
Gotcha.
Mostly
I
because
feel
of my height.
the down nod is really for the unks as well.
Oh.
Oh, it's an unk, like respect unk, like it's got almost like a bow, like okay, I'm bow to the unk.
Wow, you almost did Asian voice, but you was close.
Like
you
bow.
almost did
No,
Asian
I would
voice. You almost
never.
did it, buddy.
No, I wouldn't.
Woo, I can
Not
sense
even
that
close.
Shit.
Not even
but
close. I would never.
I have a
Not
lot
on
of work.
not on this podcast.
I have a lot of work to do, and maybe that would explain why I got leg lengthening surgery. Because even as a 5'5" king, I should have gotten the up nod because of my spiritual height, but I did not have. I did not work on myself enough. I had no dog, and then finally, when I succumbed to my insecurities and became tall like a normal person, I got the up nod, and I think it's because of my spiritual awakening, but it's really because of my tiny arms.
Well, now you are tall, you are young, you are handsome.
Thank God.
Just like Portland Trailblazers
Young,
rookie,
that's right.
handsome young.
No.
I got to say, one of our group chats, not one that you're on, a different one, where we use the Asian voice constantly. It's just incessant.
You did it. I'm just saying it. You did it. You did it.
Would never do it. Would never do
Damn
it.
it. Damn it.
We've got a lot of comments on this thread about Yang Hansen, or Hansen Yang, however you want to say
Yeah.
it.
Is it? Are they racist?
No, like, Yang is going to be a problem.
And,
Exclamation
the
points,
streets mean
annotating
that's
it.
good. Yeah, that's code for the street saying he's good.
I think his learning curve between games 1 and 2 was impressive. First one, we were watching it, we were hyped. He was slow, he didn't know what he was doing, he was turning the ball over rampantly. Had that learning curve, Andrew. There's something about him.
That mental wiggle. Yeah.
He just picks up the game so quickly.
Yeah, and his violin for violin class. He's fun. The main takeaway from preseason, personally, was how good he is with the media. And Yao was also good. We saw a lot of Yao this week as well. But he's funny. And that's surprising because Asian people, like myself, have been accused of being a bit too robotic, a bit too cold, not enough bravery and courage when it comes to Ace Bailey takes. But he is more colorful and lovable than is required.
He's funny and he's lovable. And yeah, it's the first time I've seen a Chinese person with those.
Oh, God damn it.
with those traits. I mean,
yeah.
you know, like you're typically just so cold and
That's right.
you know, I can't get a laugh out of you. You know, like you're just.
But like the typical Yang,
You're just Andrew. You're just so inscrutable on this pod. I can't tell what you're thinking or feeling.
What if I just turned like super Jesus Christ stuff, very religious, and like was obsessed with rap music?
I
Rap
like where
haircuts.
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, I mean, I expected Hansen Yang to just kind of be more of a Wang Shushu as opposed to.
See, now you're doing the Asian voice.
I'm allowed to though. You're not allowed
true.
to. Like I'm not allowed to do like a Rochester voice. But, okay, I'll try the Rochester voice. It's like, hey yo, I'll take one of those grinders and maybe some Wegmans gift cards, baby.
That's really offensive.
Thank you. I mean, if I could rap like Neff, I would have done it, but you know that would be a different kind of costume. Woo.
So I'm looking at his stats so far. Handsome Hanson and Young and handsome. He's playing 20 minutes a game. Only 2 games for him so far. And let's just do per 36 numbers. Let's get a gander at those here. Per 36 numbers, our guy is putting up, 19 points, 8 boards, 2 assists. Turning the ball over 7 times. 3 blocks.
And he fouled out.
A mixed bag.
Game. Yeah,
he
he's
did.
had 6
He did.
fouls one game.
Yeah.
He
in like 7 minutes or something, yeah.
I have the courage and bravery to say my skepticism going into the draft remain. And they're similar to Zach Edey to me, or Donovan Clingan, his teammate in front of him. I think he's slow. I think good teams will take him apart. I think he's going to have amazing highlights and be lovable. But I don't even think if the Blazers, and they're kind of close, if they get good and play hectic elimination games in the playoffs, you cannot play him.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, he's a rookie, right? But he doesn't project to be like a modern player who signs a really great second contract, which makes me sad. But
I can't tell, right? Because I think a lot of those deficiencies would apply to like Şengün as well, and he's figured his way out into being an all NBA or at least all-star caliber player, who I think is a little bit overrated, but that kind of slow, good passer. Şengün can't really shoot. He's definitely stronger and is a much better post player at this point. But again, maybe we can see more of that from Yang. I don't know. I'm really excited, as you said, for his highlights because this is a highlight league, as I heard.
Yeah, we were told. He is not Walker Kessler or Donovan Clingan in that he can pass. And you know how much we love passing here at Cookies. All the interns talk about it. But is he going to be even as good as Walker Kessler? Because as a rim protector, shot blocker, dunker, Kessler has an interesting value. It's not very high. No one wants to trade Ainge's high price for him. But he's still a success in terms of a draft pick. Can Yang's skills that Kessler does not possess or Clingan carry him to the same level?
Hard to say because I think this is where the build of a modern team matters. Because if you need a rim protecting center who is conventional, who can catch some lobs, who can box out, who can defend the paint, you're going to take a Walker Kessler. That's better. A Mitchell Robinson, okay, that is a very traditional, distinct way of using your center position. If you can look at a team like Houston and say, well, maybe we're going to go 2 bigs and we've got another huge rebounding guy, and maybe we've got a bunch of incredible defensive wings, and we can actually use a playmaking center who doesn't necessarily have those same skills as a Walker Kessler, then maybe you can have Yang as a integral part of your team's offense or defense or whatever. It's like, you look around the league and like the way that the Hawks went out and said, well, both of these teams who went to the finals had a shot blocking 3-point shooter. We should probably do that. No more of the Clint Capella thing. No more of the Okongwu. We're just going to have a enormous 7-foot shot blocking center who is recovering from tuberculosis.
Yeah. I'm not sure what Portland is planning to do this year. I don't think they're championship contenders, but I do think they have so many interesting players and interesting moves to make. Jeremy Grant still exists on that roster. Whether he's movable or not and for what is the question. They have 2 centers. I would try to move Donovan Clingan at this point. But I kind of want a statistic that in homage to one of our favorite players in our favorite moments, Corey Brewer does that. ball handling, gets to the rim, breaks the shot, comes back to D'Antoni and says, "Coach, I ran out of talent," right? And that kind of reminds me of many players, but Hanson Yang potentially, because I think he knows where to stand. I think he can see the play develop. I think he knows how to be a modern player. But he's very slow. As self-admittedly, he's not athletic. He runs out of talent potentially faster than Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah. There was a play where he threw down an uncontested dunk, and I was like, "Ooh, you barely got that in."
Yeah,
that was a little close for you being 7 feet tall, dude. Come on.
I mean,
but I was just gonna say, I think this is all true, but there's just such a good track record of tall passers that I just hopefully that will carry the day.
I mean, he should take a page from the book of an influential Asian person like myself and maybe get that leg lengthening surgery so he doesn't have to rely on his brain and he can lean on his physical attributes like myself more.
You know what's always recovered from tuberculosis?
Kristaps Porzingis and Cookies Hoops.
Cookies.
I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.